Welcome to Michelle's Making. Are you ready for coffee, crafts, cooking, and cocktails? Let's get going.
Welcome and welcome back to those of you who are returning. I really do appreciate it. Today is Human Rights Day, Nobel Prize Day, Logger Day, Salesperson Day, and Dewey Decimal System Day. Now, I dare say that the youth of today may not appreciate the Dewey Decimal System as much as those of us who had to actually look for a book live in the library. We appreciated that system, definitely. We're gonna enjoy some French vanilla creamer in our coffee and make it a great one. Let's get going.
Today I'm making some air-fried garlic Parmesan wings. Now, I showed you some other things I had made in the air fryer, and I'm continuing to work on different things because I think it's a healthier way of eating. But the recipe for my shake, my garlic Parmesan shake that I have here, will be in the description box. And the things that I've learned from doing this with raw chicken is, you rinse your chicken off, but you don't want it real wet because that will just gum up the shake mix. So I do it in this colander, and after I rinse it, I just let it sit in the sink for a little while, and it sort of dries out, but the chicken is still wet enough to pick up the shake when you put it in the bag. And do just a few wings at a time to do the shake part, and of course whatever your air fryer will hold as far as the number you put in to cook, because it depends on your air fryer. Now mine's a good size one, it's a 7-quart, so it'll do about 10 or 12 wings at a time, and it has a presetting for fried chicken. So I just followed that. I used that mode, and about halfway through, turn the chicken pieces over so they get evenly coated. Don't those look great? Always check with a thermometer. You want it over 165 degrees, which was no problem in less than the 20 minutes. I know there's less calories by cooking them this way as opposed to frying, so it's definitely a healthier option. And they are delicious. The air-fried garlic Parmesan wings. Give it a try. My first craft today is Christmas art. I am just loving these frames, and I have several frames, so again, trying to use up the things in my stash. So, using my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, I gave this frame a couple of coats. I think it took a good 2, in some places 3 coats. And once that had dried, I did do a dry brushing technique with the chalk paint in ink, which is the black color. And the great thing about doing this is, like you see in the corner there where I did it a little bit darker than I wanted it. So I actually went back over it with the white and then gave it a little dry brush of the ink color. And that's the great thing about this distressing. You can go back and forth with the colors if you want it to be a little darker or a little lighter, and play around with it till it looks good to you. And of course, my heat gun to speed up the drying process. Now here I'm making a bow, and I did leave the entire making of the bow in here for those of you who may want to follow along to really see how it's easy to do. One of the biggest tips I could give you is, when you're not real experienced in making bows, is try to use ribbon that's the same on both sides. And then you don't have to play around with the pattern and making sure that you get your outsides all going the right direction. And for this, I did 5 loops on each side. And once I had that all in place, I did snip through the wires on each side, almost to the center, but not all the way, because you don't want it to just flip in half, cut your bow in half. And then before securing the zip tie, cut your tails and put those in too, so it's all secured together with the zip tie. And here I just kind of bent it and folded it a little bit to make sure I was getting the center. I used one of my jumbo clips from Dollar Tree to secure the bow. It comes in really handy for securing bows. Do you have any tips for bow making? If you do, let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to pick up any tips that can make things easier when crafting. I like to dovetail the ends to give it a polished look. Pull that zip tie as tight as you can get it and snip off the end. Now you know the cardinal rule to bow making is every good bow needs a good fluffing. So make sure you fluff it up. And that's the great thing about things with bows on them. Even if they get smushed when you pack them away from year to year, you just fluff that bow up when you take it out. Now I had this snowflake from Dollar Tree that I was going to place in the center. And it looks okay that big, but it did flatten the bow down a bit. So I decided to snip it and only use the smaller center portion of the snowflake for the center of my bow. Do you like it with the big snowflake? Let me know in the comments which you prefer. I used hot glue to secure the bow to the frame and to secure the snowflake piece to the center of the bow. I did use my staple gun to staple the tails of the bow to each of the sides, the top and the side there. You'll see here in a minute. And then I used a little dab of hot glue just to catch the ends of the ribbons to keep them in place on the sides. I used this silver sparkle ribbon I picked up at Dollar Tree. Again, it was in my stash. Everything you see me using has been in my stash. Most things that I bought last year, but I had a pack of ornaments of which I pulled 3 out. I used this silver sparkle ribbon around some old hooks for hanging ornaments and just put a dab of hot glue on it there to secure the ribbon, to keep it lined up straight so it wouldn't twist and turn. And just putting a dab of glue at the bottom by the hook and again up closer to the top worked perfectly for keeping it very flat and straight when it was hanging. Once I had all the ribbons on the hooks or the hooks on the ribbon, however you want to look at it, I played around with it a little bit to decide the order I wanted to put it in. I wasn't sure if I would do the longer one on the bow side and go to short, but then I actually opted to do the shorter and go to longer on the far side. Remember, when you're crafting, you can use different variations of things, different colors, different sizes, whatever pleases you and whatever you feel is going to go good with your decor. I noticed that the long hook was hanging in the opposite direction here, but fortunately I noticed it when I was securing it with the staple gun and turned it around. Flipped the frame over and I used my staple gun to secure the ribbons to the frame. I apologize. I had it pulled towards me, hanging off at just at the edge of the table, and unfortunately that's out of camera range here. Did any of you notice I'm a quick change artist? Earlier I had on a long sleeve black t-shirt and now I have on my blue denim shirt. Did you notice? Let me know in the comments if you did. And here's where I actually did that little tacking with the staple gun to the ribbons on the side and the little spot of hot glue to catch the ends of the ribbon. Next, I took a pack of metal signs that I'd picked up at Dollar Tree. There's 3 words, peace, joy, and believe, and I decided to use the believe with this. At first, I was going to leave it metal, and then I decided to use my adhesive spray and glitter, some very fine sparkle glitter that I had. I thought that would just add a little something to it, make it a little more sparkly. You know, a little bit of glitter never hurt anything. If you've ever tried to use hot glue on metal, you'll find it cools very quickly, so you have to work fast. In fact, by the time I had this flipped around and glued it to the frame, the last few letters did not stick, so I just used my heat gun to heat up the metal to melt the glue again so it would adhere to the frame. Be careful though, that metal gets hot. But there you have it, the Christmas art. My next craft is really quick and easy. It's a holiday buck sign. I made this for my grandson. I had seen this black canvas at Dollar Tree and I picked it up the other day. There was only one and I've never seen them before and I haven't seen them since. I've been looking at we have 3 Dollar Trees here in town and I went to all 3 of them and no one else had them. So I'm making something with mine, but I had this ornament, which was the deer head, the buck, and this little wreath of like antler looking sort of. And I decided, I'm measuring because I'm going to put my grandson's initial in the middle. His first name and his last name begin with B, so I thought I can't go wrong. I can just put the letter B. I started out using some glitter vinyl that I had in silver, and as you can see, the buck is more of a gold. It's not really a gold or it's not really a silver, but I tried the silver letter first and glued the buck head on and the wreath ring of antlers. And I didn't really like it. The more I looked at it, it just looked odd to me. So I decided to redo the letter in the gold glitter vinyl that I had. So I was able to take the B off. It came off fairly easy. I didn't have to struggle too much with that. But I just took it off and reapplied it in a gold. Now, I don't know. You tell me. You look at it here with the silver and the end product with the gold. And tell me, does it really matter? Do you think I could have left it silver or do you think changing it to gold was a good idea? Which do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. This was a very quick and easy craft that I was making, and I just thought my grandson might like it. He's, just a young man starting out, he and his girlfriend, so they're slowly accumulating things, and I thought, oh, this will be a little Christmas decoration to add to their decor. But there you have it, the holiday buck sign. Well, it's time for an adult beverage. Today I'm making a chocolate caramel kissed cocktail. You'll use chocolate and caramel syrup, caramel kissed vodka, Bailey's, and creme de cacao, and half. So everything's going to go in a shaker. You're going to chill your glass, and once you've got your drink made, pour out your ice that's chilling your glass and use a squirt of the caramel syrup and the chocolate syrup to kind of go, it doesn't matter, it's uneven around the glass any which way. It's just for a little bit of taste and a little bit of charm or decor in the drink. But that was all there was to this, and it's a yummy drink. If you like drinks like a White Russian or a toasted almond, you would probably like this. But there you have it, a delicious chocolate caramel kissed cocktail.
Well, folks, that's it for another week. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to take time to stop and smell the coffee. Make it a great week, and I'll see you next Friday.